Well, it's finally here. After many delays, I'm finally doing my third Q&A. Before we begin though, I'm just gonna be blunt here, this will be a lot shorter than my other Q&As. It's currently Monday at the time of me writing the script, and it's gonna be a very busy week. Balancing animation, reviews, and schoolwork is not an easy job. But I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. With that being said, let's begin.
How do you make Mushroomania episodes so quickly?
I usually make episodes a week ahead of time. Since episodes have fairly simple plots, they don't require much thought. Plus, I use Moho Pro to create animation rigs that make the process easier. But recently, I've come to realize that making so many episodes in such a short amount of time isn't always the best idea. When I look back on the episodes I make, I feel like the endings in particular feel a bit rushed. And characters like Arnold, Tyler, Cody, and Casey feel a bit underdeveloped. Don't get me wrong, I love all my characters, but I feel like I could have done a better job at introducing them, but I plan to improve that in later episodes.
Why do you think that Season 2 of Superkitties is a downgrade?
I normally wouldn't accept questions about my opinions on certain shows, since I can easily make it into a review, but since I have no plans to talk about Superkitties in the future, I make this one an exception. Season 2 of Superkitties isn't awful, it's still one of the better modern Disney Junior shows. But something about the writing just feels lazy. I won't pretend Season 1 was amazing, but it had a certain charm. The villains, in particular, were surprisingly more three-dimensional than those in most other Disney Junior shows. But in Season 2, everything just feels watered down. The stories aren't as engaging, the humor feels weaker, and overall, it just comes across as kind of boring. It's not the worst thing out there, but it's definitely a step down from what made the first season enjoyable.
Who's more villainous in Mushroomania?
Villain. What are you talking about? I mean, Brittany and Alexandra are antagonists, but I don't know if I would call them villains. There is a difference. Villains are typically evil, with motivations like seeking fame, power, or world domination. But what's the worst thing Brittany and Alexandra have really done? At the end of the day, they're not out to destroy anything, they just cause inconveniences for their friends. So yeah, no one's really villainous in Mushroomania.
Did you hear about the new Paw Patrol spin-off, Rocky's Garage?
Unfortunately, I did. I'm at least glad it's just a web series and not an actual TV show, but my god, this is one of the most boring shows I've ever watched. I was gonna review it, but honestly, I have no interest in talking about Paw Patrol anymore. I mean, what is there even left to say? It's a cash cow. It airs too much. I made those points pretty clear in multiple videos. There's nothing left for me to say.
What's your favorite Mushroomania episode?
If I had to choose one, it's definitely Mushroom Babysitters. At first, I was a bit worried that people wouldn't like Nova because of her behavior, because if I know anything about the internet, well, I know a lot of things, but if there's one thing I know, it's that they love to trash on bratty characters. Caillou, DW, Little Brown Bear, you name it. But overall, I think I got the message across pretty well.
What do you think about those generic YouTube Kids channels?
To be honest, I really don't like ranting on shows that were made for YouTube, because it just feels kinda shallow. These people obviously don't have the same budget as a standard TV show, and these shows are probably just passion projects. You can give them criticism to help them improve, but ranting on them just kinda feels mean. With that being said, these channels are pretty harmless. They're not like Elsagate where they take popular characters and put them in really disturbing situations which should not be on kids' media. They're just there to be a distraction for young kids, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Are you planning to make a Mushroomania movie?
A movie. I mean, I am planning to make some double-length specials, but a full-length hour-long movie. I'm not sure. What kind of movie could you make with a show like Mushroomania? It's about two mushrooms hanging out with their quirky friends, I just don't see how that would work. That's like trying to make a Max and Ruby movie, what would even happen? Would they go on an epic quest? Would they have to save the world? It just doesn't seem like the kind of show that needs a movie.
Who's your favorite Mushroomania character?
First of all, you spelled it wrong. And secondly, picking a favorite character from a show that you made is kind of like picking a favorite child. But if I didn't make the show, and instead I was a fan, I guess it would be a tie between Yellow Mushroom and Alexandra. Yellow Mushroom is basically me in real life. Not that I'm grumpy or really that sarcastic, it's that I'm a generally pretty quiet person who doesn't think too much about the world around me. So if we ever meet each other in real life, don't expect me to be super energetic or talkative. As for Alexandra, she's a really well-developed character. Back when I was developing her, she wasn't supposed to have any real depth. She was just gonna be a completely unlikable, or redeemable jerk with zero redeeming qualities. She was meant to be a hate sink. But as I thought about it more, I realized, wait a minute, this is a kid. Why should I put so much hate and spitefulness towards an 8-year-old? Fictional or not, that's just so wrong. So over time, I gave her more layers, making her someone who isn't just mean for the sake of it, but a character with flaws, insecurities, and moments of growth. And honestly, I think that made her a lot more interesting.
What are some shows you plan to review in the future?
One show I'm definitely planning on reviewing is Batwheels. It's a show about the Batmobile and some other Bat vehicles as they come to life and fight the villains' vehicles, I guess. I have a lot to say about this show, like, a lot. In fact, I don't even know if I would call it good, bad, or even average. So, yeah, when I do eventually review this show, it'll be a pretty big video. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, I'm gonna answer one more question before I go. Sorry if I didn't get to yours, but I'm gonna do Q&As once every few months, so there's always next time.
If you could change anything about your channel, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a toughie. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this channel is. But if there was one thing I could change, is that I wish that Mushroomania episodes weren't that stressful to write. The tricky part about running this channel is that I'm not just creating a kids show, I'm also reviewing other kids shows. And that comes with a bit of pressure. If I end up making the same mistakes I've criticized in other shows, I know people will be quick to call me out on it. I don't want to come off as a hypocrite, so I have to be extra careful with my writing, making sure the plots, characters, and messages are as solid as possible. And that wraps up this Q&A. Thanks to everyone who sent in questions, I always have a lot of fun answering them. If I didn't get to yours, don't worry, I plan on doing more Q&As in the future. In the meantime, I'll be focusing on making more Mushroomania episodes and reviews, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, party on.